This is Midday Sunday. Our guest today is Harvey Rosenfield. He is the author of Prop 103, which was passed by all of us 20 years ago, and he is still fighting the good fight. People who are looking to buy insurance, maybe it's time to renew their policy. What should they do as consumers?
Shop around. This is the best time. Some big changes are happening right now, 20 years later. As I mentioned, your driving record now counts for more than where you live, and that's just going into effect in the next few months, started last week. Also, all insurance companies have to open their books now and show that their rates are fair, because over the last few years they've crept up too high. We know that they're earning excessive profits despite the regulation that we've had under Prop 103. And so there's going to be some major rate reductions. All states' customers are going to see those. This is a great time. If you have any questions about your insurance premium, get on the phone, go on the internet now, take a look around, get a good deal. There's huge disparities, not just because of where you live, and those are going to change, but also just between company to company.
Have there been any insurance companies in California that have not fought or fought less hard to defeat 103?
Well, I'll tell you, I would say the Auto Club of California. They were the first to agree to obey this new requirement, not new, the newly enforced requirement that premiums be based on your driving record. So they've been quite good. They've fought far less than the out-of-state companies, the State Farms, the All States, Fireman's Fund, Safeco.
Okay. If we could shift gears a little bit,
sure.
And if you'll forgive the pun, automobiles and all that stuff, you also have a big interest in medicine, medical care in this country, labeling, on and on. Talk to us about some of that.
Well, it started off when we realized that insurance premiums were going through the roof for health care. And this is about 10 years ago now. We set up, more than that, we set up a project, started looking at the health insurance system. And at the same time, HMOs were taking over. We moved away from the old system where you had a family doctor to the sort of bureaucratized, corporate-sized healthcare system. And there have been a lot of abuses. I mean, people have died because insurance companies, healthcare companies won't pay claims, won't make sure that people will not, they work to make sure people don't get the treatment they deserve, because that's money out of these insurance companies' pockets, even though it's really our money. So up in Sacramento, we've been promoting a bill that would regulate health insurance premiums the same way Proposition 103 regulates home and auto insurance premiums. We've also done a lot of work on medical safety. 150,000 people are killed each year in hospitals alone because of medical mistakes.
Immediately here in Southern California, our mind jumps to Dennis Quaid.
Well, that's what mine just did. You know, his newborn twins were in a local hospital, Cedars-Sinai, one of the best in the state, and they got overdosed, almost to the point of it being a tragedy for that family. And to his credit, to Dennis Quaid's credit and his wife Kimberly, they decided, even though their kids have survived, they have decided to do something about it to protect other families. Have created a foundation that we're going to work with to try to get a system in place that would just require barcoding at the bedside. I mean, Tony, right now, there's more sophisticated technology at the grocery store when you purchase a can of peas than there is at many hospitals when prescription drugs are administered. If they had a barcoding system in place at Cedars, this mistake would not have happened.
Now, but as far as the other part of this, which is universal health care, you're involved there as well?
Yes, absolutely. That's where it's got to go. I mean, the bottom line is that the private insurance companies take out about 20 to 30 cents of every health care dollar we pay. It goes to them. It goes to their overhead, their advertising, their marketing, their profits. We just can't afford that. I mean, there are too many people in this country who don't have any health insurance at all. They end up going to publicly supported emergency rooms. It's just an insane system. And if we just went to what we sort of used to have, which is pretty much a non-profit system of health care, we could get everybody covered for the same price we're paying today. Of course, the private health care companies don't agree with that. Their allies in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. don't. We were able to stop a really bad proposal by Governor Schwarzenegger that would have given insurance companies, healthcare companies, the right to order us to buy health insurance from them. It would be like mandatory auto insurance, but with no protection on how much they could charge us. So we were able to stop that. The future has to be a full health care system for everybody.
Now, for those of us old enough to remember when Medicare was first proposed and the battle that was fought over that, you expect the same thing is going to happen here, I would imagine.
Well, I think the battle will be much more intense. Medicare was passed in the golden years in Washington, D.C. compared to what it is now. The business and insurance lobbies are so powerful in our capital and in Washington, D.C. It'll be a far tougher battle now. But depending on who gets elected, maybe the next person who's president of this country will recognize that something has to be done. I mean, this is an issue that transcends partisan labels. Republicans or Democrats, everybody gets it. Medicare works. We need Medicare for everybody all the time.
What do you make of the governor's proposal for health care for children here in California?
Well, that's a great start. I mean, having health care for and making sure that kids get the care they need, of course that's important, but that's not going to solve the big picture. And I don't necessarily think it's going to lead to health care for everybody else. I mean, you can't just chip away at this. We have Medicare for seniors, and by the way, it's, you know, there are constant efforts to erode the quality of that coverage. It would be great to have health care for kids, but what about everybody else in between? It's time the politicians really take on the powerful industry.
And you've decided to go after this through the legislature as opposed to an initiative like you did with Prop 103?
Well, we've started off in the legislature, and I think we're probably going to end up like we did with Prop 103, having to put something before the voters to change this, because it just as it was back in 1988, it's worse now in Sacramento.
Yeah. So we're going to shift gears completely in the few minutes that we have left. Why the heck are you doing this sort of stuff instead of being a corporate attorney and making $1 jillion a year?
Well, I consider myself the luckiest guy in the state. I mean, I have a opportunity to help people. I make a very, very good living doing it. I can't wait to wake up in the morning. I can't wait to go to work. In fact, I don't even call it work. It's not even to me. It's just my passion. So that's why it's just been a great honor. I sometimes think that if I hadn't been able to find this way to channel my anger at the status quo, I'd be like a guy lying out in the gutter with a cup trying to collect nickels or something. This has been the perfect job for me, and I'm very fortunate to be able to help people every day.
So looking beyond today's horizon, what else is out there that needs your attention?
Well, one of the big problems that I've discovered, especially in the last few years as I've been involved as a lawyer in a lot of the cases, we've sued not only insurance companies, but cell phone companies and healthcare companies. There are so many abuses. The average person who obeys the rules just gets nickeled and dimed to death. Sure. And there's really not much you can do about it because the legal system isn't set up to protect you. I'd like to write a law. In fact, I'm in the process of doing so, drafting some legislation that would change all that for everybody, not just for customers of insurance companies, but for everybody. Give people more rights. I mean, right now, if you have a problem on your credit card or with your phone bill or your cell phone, you know that if you get on the phone, it could take you half an hour to reach customer service. Sure. Most people don't do it. They just say, I'm going to pay the overcharge. I don't think that's fair. And I think I know the companies know that people give up. They want people not to be able to complete that call and get their bills fixed. We need to change that. So that's one of the things in the future. But another very important thing is, we talked about a few minutes ago, I think making sure that the healthcare system is less expensive for people, available to everybody, and safe. It's safe. Working with Dennis Quaid and the Quaid Foundation is going to be, I think, an important project in the coming years. You
talked about barcoding, but just in general, staffing of hospitals, is it up to be?
No. It's like every other business, outsourced as much as they can. Some of the people who are doing the jobs that used to be done by registered nurses, they don't know what they're doing. They're not sophisticated enough. You can be in the best hospital in the country, and you can be a very well-known actor, and you can still have a terrible mistake befall you. And think about what that means for the rest of the people, the rest of us. So there have to be changes. The problem is medicine right now is driven by money, and whenever you do that, you pit the interests of the patient against the profits of the company. Patients always lose.
Accidents do happen, though.
Yeah, of course they do. And part of this.
So how do you balance that out?
Well, you would think that insurance companies and hospitals and doctors would all be on the same page about having a safer healthcare system, because then nobody would be hurt and there wouldn't be these malpractice lawsuits. You just got to give the companies the incentive to do the right thing.
and make money in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I guess it all boils down to.
That's right.
We'll take a break. We'll come back for some final thoughts with Harvey Rosenfield.